We are going to talk about my takeaways from leadership this past week, and some of it is business geared stuff, and some of it is just like from a speaker that we had that was a Tony Robbins speaker. So there's really no specific order. I'm literally just going over. I highlighted things in my notes that I think would be most profound for everyone and applicable for your businesses. I first just want to say, if you don't know what leadership is, and I'm going to kind of back up to not just leadership, but new leadership, because new leadership is within reach for any coach on this team. And it is really the starting place for earning leadership trips. But New Leadership Conference was the first leadership event that I ever attended, and it was such a game changer. Like, if you are truly serious about growing Beachbody as a business, New Leadership is something you definitely want to push for. I know they are going to have it in person this year, but when I went to go to New Leadership Conference, it was in LA. We got to see headquarters and see how they make Shakeology. And a lot of it's just top business trainings with top coaches. So it's teaching you really how to treat your business like a business, how to lead a team, how to organize your month, how to plan things. And it was really a starting point for me of like really taking my business to the next level. So instead of giving you guys basically the breakdown of how to achieve that, I'm going to tell you that if you want to get to new leadership, to go search the FAQ, because it is absolutely a doable push goal, even through the end of this year. If that's something you wanted to achieve, it would have to be done. I think the deadline is December. But it's totally doable in terms of rank and elite points. So if you are taking action already in your business, sharing, coaching, hitting Success Club, that's a really great push goal for you. And when you get to those events, it feels even more like a real business, because you are in that room, because you earn that spot, you earn that trip. And you get to learn all of these higher level leadership trainings. So it's not just like Summit where it's about social media and all that kind of stuff. It's more business and leadership geared. So I'm just going to throw that out there. So the first year that I earned new leadership, I actually went to my first leadership later that year. And leadership, you have to be a lifetime 5-star, and you have to have a certain amount of elite points to attend. So it's a gift that I get to continuously go to this event every single year. And I think there was only like 300 of us this year that earned it. But we have the best trainings at leadership. I absolutely love the speakers they bring in. And a lot of the trainings are things that aren't necessarily maybe applicable to you right now in this moment. The things that I'm going to share tonight are, but some of them are just reminders for me on, say, like recognizing rank more in the team page. They're kind of like things that we need to be doing as we're growing organizations. So like I said, I'm going to be kind of revamping certain things. Like, they had a really phenomenal speaker that talked about reducing overwhelm for new coaches and simplifying the process of getting people started. So those are things that I'm going to kind of slowly chip away at. And I think that's the best way to go about it when you come back from events, because it's so much information that it's easy to just come home and kind of put it in a notebook and put the notebook aside. But when we do that, we never actually apply the things we learn. It's just the same as like going to Summit. When you come home from a Summit, I always say, like, take the top 3 things that you want to work on and implement first and foremost, that are going to be the biggest game changer in your business, because otherwise it's all too easy to get overwhelmed and do nothing, right? Another one of the things that I really loved, that is something I'm going to work on implementing and then encourage all of you to do, was one of the girls said that she shares the total solution pack, not by like sending a graphic and like a paragraph explanation, but she recorded a quick like 5-minute video of herself talking to the screen that she uploaded to YouTube. And every time she has a conversation with somebody, she links that YouTube video to them, and it explains what the total solution challenge pack. And I was like, wow, that's like so simple. but it's something I've never thought to do, right? And it's something that we explain over and over and over. It's like, okay, this is Shakeology, and you get a 30-month supply, and this is how it's going to make you feel, and this is why I love it, and this is, why it's been such a game changer for me. And then we have Beachbody on Demand, and we have all these programs and blah blah blah, and like it allows you to start where you are and work your way up and develop it as a lifestyle. And we have To Be Mindset Nutrition, and right, so making like a say 5-minute video of what you would say the total solution is and why it's been such a game changer for you, and having that as a resource to share in your conversations. So a lot of the like tips that I got from leadership were things like that. They're things that are just you kind of have to take one at a time, like I said, and implement them. So just know that as I work on these things, I will be sharing them in the team page. So if you don't hear me say it tonight, you will see it in the near future, because I do intend to share everything with you as I implement what I think will be most beneficial for all of us. But the first thing that I really wanted to share with you guys tonight, and I actually made a Canva graphic for you because they put the pictures on the screens when they do the speakers, but the pictures aren't always very clear when I do that. So I didn't want to just post a picture on the team page and you're like, I can't read that. So I made a Canvas slide for you guys, and I'm just gonna like read it out to you, and then I'll actually post it in the team page after the call. But we had, I think it was Angie Belmar. She's a 15-star diamond. She's really phenomenal, and her speech was all about keeping social media really simple. And one of her kind of calls to actions was to implement this immediately in our own businesses, but also to do it with our team cups, because a lot of times we kind of like have different calls on like post strategies and branding and different ideas. And we've done a lot of those things, but it doesn't necessarily like reduce the overwhelm of like, okay, well, what do I post when? And how do I share this? And how do I make sure I'm talking about challenge groups and transformations and nutrition and coaching and this, like all where you're talking about all of it, where you're not being super repetitive, or you're not only talking about one thing and never about something else. And so her posting strategy, what she said is she has it listed out Monday through Sunday, and it's super simple. And she literally puts it on a repetitive loop every single 7th day. She starts over again. But because each category is a little bit different, you're never necessarily sharing the exact same thing, but it is basically the most important things that we need to be sharing to connect, inspire, engage, and have people learn and be interested in what we're doing. So I'm just going to read it out loud to you. And like I said, I made a Canva graphic that I'm going to share in the team page after, so no need to write this down. But her simple she called it the 7-day loop posting strategy. Day 1 was Monday. And of course, you could switch these days around. They don't have to be in a specific order necessarily, but it was just what worked for her. And it's what she did to create for her team so that her whole team could simplify being consistent sharing on social media. And it's so simple. So day 1, Monday, was either sharing a before and after of yourself or a customer, or a fellow coach, or a Beachbody product. So it could be highlighting like that you drink Energize every morning, and you don't necessarily have to say the name, but you say why do you drink it, how it makes you feel, how it's your motivation to get out of bed when you're a tired mom, right? So talking about the things we use consistently. And I know for damn sure I don't ever do that. I rarely ever post about products, and I'm a product junkie. Like I use not just Beachbody products, but products like all the time, right? Or to talk about the total solution. So talking about why the total solution has been such a game changer for you. Maybe it's that like, oh, I used to go to the gym a lot, but I never saw results. Or I tried a million diets, but I never could figure out fitness. Or I worked out and I ate well, but I never had energy and my digestion was awful, and that didn't change for me until I found Shakeology, right? So talking about the total solution as a whole and why that's been such a game changer for you. Talking about body, or posting a day 1 commitment, or progress, like making a public commitment and sharing that. So this is especially a good one if we have kind of been off track and we need to be like, even if you're in the middle of a program, like I'm probably going to do this next week because this last 2 weeks has been kind of crazy, and I haven't even done a 6:45 workout this week. Um, but like putting it out there publicly, this is what I'm committing to, and this is why. And this is especially good for brand new coaches if you don't have a transformation yet, where you can say, this is my public commitment, this is my day one. And if you're not comfortable sharing the photo, cover it over with a banner, right? But it gives people something to see you start and follow you through the process of. So day one, Monday, is essentially highlighting something Beachbody related, a transformation, a commitment, a product, a program, total solution. Day two was behind the scenes. So this kind of is like sharing who you are, things that make you you. So she said you could post about your family, you could post about pets, you could share what your office looks like, you could talk about, the kitchen decor you just had. It's something behind the scenes from your day-to-day life. It could be like something I did the other day where I posted about listening to audiobooks while I walk the dog, right? It's a behind the scenes glimpse of who you are and what you do in your day-to-day life. Day three is showing your setup, is what she said. And she had a really cool picture of herself, like where she was in her workout space, and you could see like her workout on the screen, and you could see her weights in the background. And she was saying, when you add value and you share how we work out at home, because she's like, a lot of times we like, it made so much sense to me when she said it, but I've never really thought about it. She's like, we post all these workout clips, right? Like most of us post workout clips in our Instagram stories every day, but she's like, people don't know what the hell you're doing. Like people see you working out, but they don't necessarily know that you're following a workout, or that you have this system that you log into that tells you what workout to do every single day. And there's a trainer guiding you. So show your Beachbody on demand, show your setup, show your behind the scenes. Share what your wins were that week. That was a big one. She said, like, share what your wins are. Is it that you're getting up earlier? Is it you're eating a little bit cleaner? Is it that you got your husband to join in workouts with you? But sharing those wins, because even if it's not like a transformation photo, it's showing that you're making progress. Day four, again, super simple, kind of a get to know me day, is what are you learning? So are you listening to a podcast? Are you reading a book right now? What is something that you are learning that is valuable to you that you can share with someone else? And day five, she said, get outside. It's better lighting, do something fun. Should be fun and exciting. It gives a different image to your pictures. I mean, I feel like day five, if you live somewhere cold, you're probably not necessarily going to go outside, but think about how you could switch up the environment for a photo, right? And something that you want to share, something you're doing fun. Saturday was, what do you do for fun? It could be home decor. It could be, I wrote down furniture rehab because that's something I'm going to start doing as like a side project. A hobby, a passion, a skill, something you enjoy doing with your kids. It could be date night. Whatever it is, but something that you're doing for fun. Again, because even though our social media is it's for a business of transformation, right? A fitness and nutrition, we're not going to connect to our people, to the people we're looking to help and serve, if we're not sharing things other than health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, personal development, right? We need things that are connection factors to women that are just like us. Like I should post about things like earrings. Like I'm obsessed with earrings. I have this huge thing on my wall. Like there's so many little things about me that people would probably never know because I never share about them. And I don't ever think to, but when she said this prompt of like, kind of like, who are you? What do you love? And what do you do for fun? And I was like, wow, there's like a lot more things that I could share that would probably connect me to women that I'm looking to connect to, right? Do you guys feel like that? And then Sunday was the only day that I would recommend not changing the day on if you were to switch these around and kind of make the schedule your own. But day Sunday, she said day 7 Sunday is when you share about your coaching journey. And that's primarily because a lot of people are going to jobs that they don't like on Mondays, or they're burnt out, or they're wishing that the weekend wasn't over, right? And they're looking for something different in their life. And you get to share about the coaching opportunity and that things could be different, right? Um, so she said, ideas for sharing your coaching. You could share what your why is. You could share why you're a coach. You could share your current goals, your vision, and your dreams. She said that long before she ever became successful in this business, she talked a lot about what her vision and her dreams were for her business. And I can think back to earlier years in my business where I talked about um, wanting to build a business that allowed me to be full-time, at home with my son, about having time freedom to be present as a mom. Like, I talked about those things all of the time. And at some point, when those things kind of became reality, I stopped talking about them so much. So I think that's just a really powerful reminder to share those things publicly, because people don't necessarily know why you're doing what you're doing unless you share the why, right? And people can't necessarily get inspired about why they may want to build a coaching business alongside you or join your team or do the thing you're doing unless they know why you're doing it. Like, what is the purpose? What are you showing up for? Like, why are you putting time into this? Why do you love it? And how could that perhaps inspire them to think of something and dream bigger for their own lives, right? And then making public promises. So what you desire, what you're going to achieve. And she said, when you share this publicly and then people watch you push for that goal, like, for example, you guys, some of you just came to our team retreat. Like, if you were to say, like, part of why I love the coaching opportunity is because I never had the opportunity to travel prior to this, right? And now I have the opportunity to earn a few different trips a year, a Success Club trip, a coach retreat, to go to Summit, to have these incredible experiences with a like-minded community, to learn and grow and be a better version of myself, to explore new places, to take my spouse with me or my family with me on this Success Club trip, right? And sharing what it is that you are intending to achieve, and then kind of sharing progress here and there along the way of you working towards that goal. And she pointed out a really good point, was it builds credibility. It builds credibility because people see you say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm going for, and then they watch you achieve it. And so these people that are kind of on the fence, like, what is she doing? Is that coaching thing actually legit? I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but kind of skeptical. And then they watch you achieve things, right? People are more likely to join in because they see it's a real deal. So she said that was super powerful for her, was sharing her goals and dreams, making public promises, and then working towards it and sharing about it. And then that 7-day loop just continues. So she literally had a calendar on the screen where she had the 7 days go across, and then she just whoop, whoop, like copy pasted it into the next part of the calendar. And then you could just jot in, this is my favorite planner. I have the high performance planner. And in this planner, there is a blank calendar in it, literally. And so my thought was, if we sit down with the 7-day loop and you just jot in, okay, like I put on the 10th, I'm going to post a transformation because I turned 35 on Tuesday. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I shared a transformation of what I looked like and who I was when I was 25 versus what I look like and who I am now at 35. And in large part, I've become a way better version of myself and healthier and happier thanks to Beachbody, right? On the 11th, whatever. And you can just jot in an idea, like take these 7-day content topics that she's given us, and then write out, just jot it in your notes. What do I think I want to post that day? And I don't know if that's helpful to some of you, but I know I personally need simplicity, because as much as I do all of these branding things and they're great and I have all these ideas, like if I don't have something written of like, this is what needs to be shared today, it doesn't necessarily simplify things for me. So I will share that graphic in the team page with you guys when this call is over. Okay. Like I said, I'm not necessarily going through these in any specific order, but one of the other speakers talked about helping new coaches get started and to simplify it and to just really reduce overwhelm, like making it very simple to have quick wins. And I think it's so important because sometimes I feel like we throw new coaches into training and there's so much information and people get so overwhelmed. And instead of it being exciting, it's like we freeze, right? So she was saying that 5 things new coaches need, and I'm just telling you this because I think it's a really important thing to think about as you are sharing the coaching opportunity and bringing coaches into your team. How do you, as a leader for your own coaches, um, want to take and kind of tweak the systems we have or make your own to stick to these 5 things? Because I think she nailed it on the head. And she said 5 things that new coaches need are: 1, validation; 2, encouragement; 3, direction; 4, training; and then 5, recognition. Um, and treat it. I thought this was interesting that she said treat it as if they're starting a new job. Like if someone was starting a new job, say at a restaurant, and they give you a menu and you have to memorize it, and it's like, okay, awesome, like you're ready for this now, like, okay, and it's kind of holding hands and walking through those first steps. And I think I personally can tend to forget that sometimes because it's been so long for me, and this is all second nature to my brain at this point, that we really do have to work closely to walk people through those first steps as they get started. In terms of Team Cup, somebody mentioned to maximize Team Cup month, asking what is your strategy. So I know we in our Team Cup wanted to attempt to get on a Zoom to kind of plan things out. And this is something we can all think about as a team with your own teams. You can write in your threads, but they were like, what is your strategy, right? So the most important things are customer to coach conversion, recruiting coaches, income producing activities, teamwork, accountability, and pushing together. So checking in weekly, checking in however you like in your group thread, but asking yourself what catapults your business the most, right? And when it was put to me that way, I'm like, well, it's pretty much it's hitting Success Club, but it's also sharing the coaching opportunity. And they suggested to focus primarily on one thing that you really want to just dominate this month, is that you want to help as many people as possible get started with total solution packs, is that you want to share the coaching opportunity with as many people as possible this month, but really kind of zero in and focus on that one thing. And I think that's perfect because it aligns not only with Team Cup, but our Take Action Challenge. Okay. I'm going to go back into my notes. Now, some of these you might want to write down because, so this speaker specifically, she is I think her name is KK, she said. She is like the head of the female division of the Tony Robbins team. I don't know if you guys know Tony Robbins, but he's phenomenal. And he has this woman came in and she told her story of how she got hired by the Tony Robbins team, and she was kind of a nobody, and she had this dream that she wanted to create this section of their company that was predominantly for women that wanted to embrace personal growth and becoming the best version of themselves and just like dominating it whatever they did. And that she secretly kind of behind the scenes like did all this work, and then she like pitched the idea to him once she had already essentially created it. So she was talking about how she had this just unwavering belief in herself before it ever became something real, and now it's this large part of the Tony Robbins organization. And it was just like her energy was amazing. And mind you, like during her speech, probably about every 7 to 10 minutes, she had us get out of our seats. She stopped talking. The music got loud. She made us all jump up and down because her whole speech was all about that the core of transformation is all about energy. And she talked a lot about body language, right? And I think it's something that we tend to kind of forget about. But she's like, okay, I want you to sit in your chair right now, and I want you to sit how you would sit if you feel like you're lacking confidence, you don't believe in yourself, you're tired, you're disengaged, right? And so everybody's kind of like slumped in their seats. And she's like, now I want you to sit up like you own this room, like you know why you're here, you're excited and you're ready to learn, right? You're gonna sit up straight, you're gonna feel more confident. Like you literally feel the energy in your body is different. And she was saying that the core of all transformation is energy. So to really think about, like, when we sit down to work our businesses every single day, what kind of energy are we showing up with, right? Because sometimes it's easy to sit down and just be like, oh, I gotta do this right now and I gotta do that. And just taking that moment to be like, what kind of physical energetic state am I in before I sit down to do this? Because it truly impacts um, the work we're doing and the outcomes we're having, right? So she was saying that two forces influence our decisions. One is your state, like the moment to moment, and one is your blueprint. So this is what your blueprint of like what you think life is supposed to look like. And she was saying if you want to change the influence of your decisions, you can either change your blueprint, which is your circumstances, which most often than not we can't change, right? Or you can change your state, your physical and your emotional state. Um, she was saying energy is created by emotion, and energy, like I said, is the core of all transformation. So she's like, you just have to decide to be ready right now, that this is your life. You get to step up. And what she called it was to feed the beast, which is you. So like, to show up and create that energy, like instead of us sitting around being like, oh, I hope I have energy today and I hope I show up as the version of myself I want to be today, but like deciding like I'm gonna fucking show up the way that I want to show up today and bring that energy with me. So she was saying, and this was super powerful, then she kind of walked us through some exercises, but the truth will set you free. And when we pretend that things are better than they are, the ego tells us things to help us feel better about where we're at. And I thought that was so profound. And she said, you can't show up, you can't grow unless you're viciously honest about where you're at. Which of course nobody wants to hear sometimes. We don't want to like look at the things that are uncomfortable or the things that we know are keeping us stuck or the bad habits we've gotten in or the procrastination we're dealing with. But I think it's so powerful if you really think like when we take a moment to be really honest with ourselves about what is holding us back, about what is creating inconsistencies or what is holding us from getting to the next level. We all have those things. So she said, get to the truth as fast as you possibly can in order to make progress. It's an ego check. And so she said, when you have a breakthrough, it allows you to go beyond this spot. But in order to have a breakthrough, we have to bring that honesty to the situation, right? So she asked us on a scale of 1 to 10, how do we feel like we're showing up for ourselves, for our businesses, for the dreams that we have for our lives, right? And, you know, some people are like, I'm a 3, I'm a 5, I'm a 7, I'm a whatever. And you don't have to do this right now, obviously, because we don't have the time, but I would encourage you to do this exercise because I literally wrote, when she asked us this, an entire page with that vicious honesty of why, if you're not showing up as a 10, why? And so some of the things, and I'll share with you, like these are things I feel like everyone deals with. And it hit me so hard when she's like, you can't like be dishonest with yourself and think you're going to have a breakthrough and make progress, right? Like to have that type of a breakthrough, to go to the next level, to push for the things you want to go for, you have to be honest with yourself. So if you're not showing up as a 10, why? And some of the things that I wrote down was comparison, playing small, afraid to build beyond what I've done before and to have failure again, lack of structure, It's very simple things, but like when you take a moment to get honest with yourself and really look at these things, they're things that are changeable, right? They're not so scary when you put them on paper and you're like, well, I can overcome that. Like everybody deals with stuff like this. So I would suggest that at some point in time, when you have a couple minutes, you sit down um, and do this exercise and ask yourself, if you're not showing up as a 10, ask yourself why. And then this was really profound too. After she did this exercise, she asked us, how many times can you find your limitations before you finally decide to move beyond them? So like how many times can we bump into that same roadblock of like, I lack confidence, or I lack structure, or I'm not organized, or I doubt myself. How many times can we find ourselves bumping up against our limitations before we basically just say screw it and decide to move beyond them, right? Because she kept relaying like, that's a decision, that's a choice, that's how you have breakthroughs, is to be that honest with yourself about what it is that is holding you back, um, and then to push yourself through that. And she asked us, because obviously we're all coaches, and we know that sometimes as coaches, what people need to hear is not necessarily what they're going to like to hear, right? Like we all need someone once in a while to call us out and say like, I believe in you, you're more capable than that. Or you're not looking at the good, you're focusing on the ways you're failing, but you're not looking at all the things you're succeeding at, right? She said, does a good coach tell you what you want to hear, or does a good coach tell you what you need to hear? A good coach tells you what you need to hear, and we have to be that for ourselves as well. um, she suggested we draw a line in the sand after doing these exercises, and she just had some like affirmations, but she said, I am outstanding at what I do, I over deliver and see opportunity everywhere. I create my story from here on out. And then this was really cool. She talked about two types of beliefs. So we have disempowering beliefs. That's like your belief that's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not as good at reels as she is, right? I don't have the money to do that. You know, I could never be as successful as so and so. You know what your disempowering thoughts are. Like, I know that when I say that, you can probably think of three things that you tell yourself on a regular basis that are not helpful, not positive, and not kind, right? Like we all have those disempowering thoughts. So she asked us to consider that to be one identity, right? That's your disempowering beliefs. It's like an identity of its own. Um, and then you have an empowering identity, right? That's the identity of like, I got this. If she can do this, so can I. Like, I may not have the money for that right now, but if I keep working really hard in my business, I'm going to have that 6 months from now. I can do anything. I am capable of this. Look at how much I've already achieved. Look how far I've come, right? That's that empowering belief system. So she said, we all have two versions of ourselves. Which one are you going to listen to, and which one are you going to take action from? And that is something we have to ask ourselves every single day. We have to extract that identity. And so she said to help ourselves align more with this empowered identity, where you get up and you're like, I got this, I'm a badass, I'm capable, I can achieve these things, right? To give your empowered belief system for yourself, give it a name. So she literally had everybody in the crowd shouting out names, and they were like, Glenda, and you know, whatever, like pick a name that you feel is like empowering, and you think like, I'm going to think from my state of Glenda today, right? I'm going to show up as Glenda today because that is the empowering belief system that I want to operate and to take action from. Do you guys think that's weird, or do you think that's really cool? Because I thought it was awesome. I'm like, that's really cool to like give the empowering version of yourself a name where you're like, stop being a bitch. You need to sit down over there, and I need Glenda to come out to play because Glenda is who I want to show up as today, right? And then the next exercise she had us do was to think about 3 years from now, your ideal vision of what your life is going to look like. And again, I wrote like whole page of that. And I think that's a lot easier to do than it is to write the tough stuff sometimes. Um, but of course, she had this, beautiful piano music going, and it's like set the mood and just sit down and like think about where you really want to be 3 years from now, and write that out. And then ask yourself, what feelings did you have when your business or your life was at your best? Um, and working on recreating that more, working on thinking of like what got you in that state, what made you feel that way, what was happening in your life when things felt that way, right? Because when we can connect to those emotions more, we can connect to what we were doing to have those outcomes. And then what was the last thing that she mentioned that I thought was so great? Oh, she did an exercise. This is why I don't have it written down. She had us hold out the palm of our hand. And she said, I want you to look at like one spot on the palm of your hand, right? And I like looked right here. She said that I want you to look at that one place and think of like one of the first most important things in your 3-year vision, right? And I think I'm like, I'll tell you what mine was, but it was like living on a lake house, in a big house on a lake with my family that I love, and getting to make memories in that home, right? And then she asked us to look at a second spot on our hand, and think about another part of our vision that has a lot of meaning to us. And then again, with a third spot on our hand. And she's like, I want you to look at your hand and I want you to memorize where these 3 spots are, because at any point in time, you can look down at your hand and you can remember that the future you desire to create, the power for it is literally in your hands. And you can take that with you, and you can do that exercise anytime you want to. Like if you're having a tough day, or like you hit a failure, you get a cancellation, somebody says no, whatever it is, when you need to ground yourself of where you're going, and that there's going to be all kinds of ups and downs along the way, you can just look down at your hand and think of those 3 things. And that gratitude that you feel. Tony Robbins is all about gratitude. He does a similar exercise in his seminars like she did, but grounding into that feeling of gratitude and knowing where you're going sometimes helps keep you present in the moment despite whatever chaos or challenges you're going through, right? So I thought that was a really cool exercise too. So that was more mindset stuff from her, but I feel like those are the things often that we need to work on most, because without the mindset component, we often don't take action the way that we desire to be in our businesses, right? Lots of other speakers, and I have lots of random notes, but I wrote this down, and it wasn't necessarily something somebody said, but somebody was speaking and I wrote it down just as a reminder to myself. So I'm going to remind you too, but I don't need to be the best. I just need to be my best, right? And I think sometimes when you are surrounded by this incredible network of coaches where people are constantly achieving and doing badass things, right? It's sometimes we feel like we're not doing enough, or we haven't grown fast enough, or we haven't this, or we haven't that. And just remembering that this is your own journey. This is your own business. It is not a race. It is literally what you desire it to be for you, that you don't need to be the best. You need to be your best. And I know I needed to remind myself of that, because when I sit in those rooms, sometimes I feel like this tiny little person that has achieved nothing compared to the success of the people in the room around me. And that doesn't matter, right? Their journey is not mine, and mine is not theirs, and yours is not mine, and vice versa. But you just need to be whatever your best is. And then we had a coach panel with a couple. I want to tell you this, guys, too, just so that you know, so that you can get a picture of an idea of the success that is possible in this company. There were a little over 100 elite coaches, is what they said last year. So now in past years, like when our team was elite 2 years in a row, I think there was like 208 elite coaches those years, right? From last year, there was only like a little over 100 elite coaches. And out of those 100, over 50 of them were brand new coaches. brand new coaches to the network, as in like this was their first year in the business, went all in, just ran for their goals. And to me, like as somebody who's been around for 8 years, I'm like, that's incredible. That's so exciting to me, because I think sometimes we tend to feel like, where are these people that want to be coaches with us, right? Where are these people that want to run and build a business and do this thing and like be a badass with me? And with that statistic, I was just like mind boggled. Like when I walked in leadership, we typically know so many people that are from our team and from our upline team. And it was pretty much me and like 8 of the girls that I started coaching with 8 years ago that are still around, just like I am. And there was a lot of people that weren't there anymore. And there was a ton of new faces that I have never seen before, which to me, and it should be exciting to you, is that there is success and there is plenty of room at the top of this company. And that all these new coaches that are earning these incredible things are possible. But to me, what it said is there are people out there that are looking for an opportunity like this, that are looking for a team like ours, that are looking for a coach like you, that want to be a part of something like this, that are ready and excited, to jump in and do this with us. And to me, I'm like, sometimes you just need that reminder that there are people out there that want to do this with you and want to do this just like you are, right? So we had a panel of coach speakers on Saturday afternoon, and Jamie Fitzpatrick was one of them. And this was the thing that I posted in the team page, because it literally just like the whole audience just stopped. I think people started like me anyways, I was ready to cry. I don't know if you know Jamie Fitzpatrick. He and his wife are our top coaches in Canada. They're both 15-star diamonds. They've built their business together. They're just phenomenal. But he said, don't ever forget, like, we get a chance to change who people become. We get a chance to change who people become, and that's powerful. Like what he was basically talking about was all of the ranks and the recognition and the points and then this and all the things we focus on. The bottom line of this business is that we get to help people change who they become, right? And we can never lose focus of that. And then he prompted us to remember also that with coaching, think of the skill sets that you've developed since you becoming a coach and how that serves and changes your life. And I'm like, I literally know so many things about so many things that I never knew before I was a coach. And you probably feel the same way, like email systems and posting on social media and doing reels and taking photos and editing photos and writing captions. And like, there's so many skills that you learn through coaching that are not just applicable for this business, but they're applicable for so many aspects of your life. And it's often why coaches go on and they launch a headband company, they make yoga mats, they do all these things because of the skills that they've built in this business. So he was saying that when you are sharing the coaching opportunity, remember, it's not just about what they're going to achieve with coaching. It's that you're literally helping people develop a business mind and all these skill sets that go on and serve so many different aspects of their life. And then I love that he also gave us this reminder of, what are you in a rush for? What are you in a rush for? He's like, do it right. Integrity should always be the number one thing. Don't lose your joy by trying to push yourself too hard, which in a room of people that are very, goal driven, it's like, it's such a good reminder sometimes, because I even feel like that. I'm like, hurry up. Like, why haven't you gained this back? Why haven't you gotten to this next thing yet? Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? And that's not a very positive way to feel when going about things in a business, right? We all have things that we desire to grow towards and achieve. They take time, they take effort, they take consistency. But I loved that reminder. Yes, you want to have a sense of urgency pushing towards goals that keeps you showing up. But he just said, what are you in a rush for? Do it the right way. All right. Let me see what else I've got in here for you. I already mentioned at the beginning, I think you weren't on yet, Melissa. Maybe you weren't either, Stacy and Robin. But I mentioned that one of the coaches talked about how she simplifies sharing. And this is not just an idea. I was thinking about this as she was saying it. she creates an introductory video that explains what the total solution pack is to people. So instead of like sending a graphic that's like, it includes Beachbody on Demand and Shakeology and To Be Mindset and this and that, right? Um, she recorded a quick, like, couple minute video on what the total solution is, why it's been such a game changer for her, how it's helped her customers, and when people are interested in joining her, and she talks to them about their questions and their health and their goals and their needs. Um, that's something that she sends them. And she said, what it does is it prevents you from word vomiting, right? Because you give people the most factual, important points about what a challenge pack is. And then you're not explaining this like bajillion other details where you're typing and you're like, and Shakeology has this in it. And blah, blah, blah. And people are like, what the hell? I don't want to read that. Like, we scared them off. But if it's a super short and sweet video of what the total solution is and why it's been a game changer for you and why you think it would be helpful to them, it's super easy to send. It's super easy to use over and over. So it's going to simplify the process for you of connecting and sharing, but it's also duplicatable, right? Because if we start implementing this now as a team, making these videos, we can then go on to teach our newer coaches either, hey, use mine until you're comfortable making it, or go ahead and make your own, because it's a super simple, duplicatable thing. And I was thinking, this is even something where we could create like a super short snippet. Like, I think we've tried to do things like this before and maybe just not followed through, but like we could create a simple snippet video with transformation photos of like, here are some of the transformations of women from our challenge groups and the results that real life women have seen, right? How cool is that when somebody's like, I have 70 pounds to lose, I don't think I could ever achieve that. And you're like, hey, hang on, let me send you this video of all these badass women on our team and what they've done. Or it could be something simple like, someone's like, hey, what's that stuff that you drink every morning, the red stuff in the glass? And you're like, oh my God, it's Energize. It's my favorite all natural pre-workout, right? And you have a 2-minute clip on what Energize is, why you love it, why you drink it, that it's all natural. It's not like the crap you get at GNC, but like, the sky is the limit in terms of creating videos. I don't know why I've never thought of things like this before, but it gives you something simple to do the explaining for you. And granted, we have some Beachbody videos that are phenomenal that explain To Be Mindset or Shakeology. So I'm not saying you need to recreate the wheel, but I do think it adds a very personal touch when there is something that you are explaining in a video, like about the total solution in your challenge group, for you to send to people. And then none of this is really, I don't think, helpful. Like I said, some of this stuff is like, they were just reminders to me. Holly Hillier talked a lot about using reports to drive team growth. And so she shared a lot about, this may be helpful actually. And these are things that I personally need to work on doing a whole lot more recognition. When she had this talk, but it was like, we do the SC updates weekly, but doing face visuals and shout outs. And the one that like I'm super excited to implement was she shouts out rank. So not just when people achieve rank for the first time, but this is something that you guys could start doing with your coaches as well as they sign up their first person or get their first Success Club point or achieve Emerald and I only intend to do it once a month, but to celebrate, say there's 6 coaches on the team that are holding Emerald rank, right? Once a month, we're going to celebrate all the Emeralds on the team. We're going to celebrate all of the current Diamonds on the team. But just putting that up and out there, because it's not just an achievement when you achieve it, but it's an achievement when you continue to serve those customers and to hold those ranks while you're growing in your business, right? But she talked a lot about celebrating people when they hit their first Success Club point, their first time hitting Success Club. When someone is a brand new coach, I thought this was really awesome. When they have their first month as a coach and they don't hit Success Club, she reaches out to them personally and says, how can I help you take action? How can I help you hit Success Club next month, to troubleshoot any reason as to why they're not inviting, if they're struggling with conversations. Because sometimes I think, we just think, oh, well, they have the training and they know what to do and they can take action, right? And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes people need to check in as to like, hey, did you watch that video? That's cool. Do you have questions on how to talk to somebody and walk you through what it is so that we collectively as a team can become a culture of coaches that are hitting Success Club? And that's something too that I also think, not just us reaching out to coaches, but I'm thinking of you, Lindsay. Like, if you don't have an active coach, you can always reach out to me or to any of the leaders on the team and say like, hey, I'm having a really hard time. Can you help me troubleshoot on what to do? I would just love for us in general to be a team where anyone feels comfortable asking anyone for help or guidance, because I think that's really important. There's a lot of stuff to learn in this business. And like I said, sometimes I have been around for so long that this stuff is like ingrained in my brain and I don't even think to point it out, which I need to be better about. But if you have questions on basic things or you're struggling to hit basic goals, you can always reach out to one of us and have us further explain that for you so that you can get on those boards and be celebrated, and be a part of those things. Running through if there's anything else I'm missing. I think the last thing I'm going to share with you is, oh, that's good too. Amber, I think you say her name, Kuiper, her and her husband created a really kick-ass community a couple years ago and like built their team as a couple also, and they're awesome. She was talking about with this launch coming up, like just like talking to your teammates about how you're going to approach it. Because now we not only have total solution packs, but we have body and now we have bikes. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, when I talk to somebody in a conversation and they're like, I want to get fit. And you're like, well, do I offer them Beachbody on demand, or do I tell them about body, or do I tell them they should ride a bike? Like, I don't know what to do anymore because we have so much to offer, right? And granted, forums are helpful and asking questions and all those things. But what she was saying is that whatever it is that you love, right? If you love Beachbody on Demand and you love following a program start to finish, that's what you should talk about. If you are obsessed with body and these live interactive workouts, like I've done a couple now and I really like them. And I think for me, after doing program after program after program for 8 years, that I'm probably going to figure out a way to bring body more in and like incorporate it into my routine, because I really like that at specific times of the day I can say, okay, hey, at 9 a.m. I'm going to do a bar workout, and tomorrow I'm going to do strength training at 11, right? And it's just fresh and exciting, and I think it's super cool that you're right there live working out. And also bikes. I have been envious of people with Peloton bikes for like years now, that I cannot wait to get my bike and to ride it and to talk about that. So she was saying, you don't need to feel overwhelmed that you have to like go sell bikes and go sell body and go tell everybody total solution packs and like overwhelm yourself before you even get started about what the hell to talk to people about. Pick whatever it is that you are currently loving. Are you following a program that you love right now? Cool, talk about it. Are you doing body workouts and you're like, this is incredible, I think this interactive platform is phenomenal, I'm going to share more about that. Are you getting a bike and you can't wait to ride it and you want to have other girls that are going to ride with you and be like, hey, let's meet at 9 a.m., we're going to cycle together? Talk about that. She was saying, just like we've always done with coaching, whatever it is that you are fired up about, that you are excited, that you can't wait to share, go out and talk about those things. Don't overwhelm yourself thinking that you need to talk about absolutely everything, right? Which is true, because it's confusing to people following you too. But you're going to be most productive and most effective when you pick whatever it is that you love the most, that is working for you and your routine, and talking about those things. And then of course, in one-on-one conversations, when you're talking to people, if they're not interested and they don't, they work 9 to 5 and live body workouts aren't going to work for them, maybe that's someone that you suggest Beachbody on Demand to, right? Or maybe it's someone that doesn't really like cardio and they don't like lifting weights, but they would love to hop on a bike and do classes, right? That might be someone that you suggest something to, but still remember to lead with whatever it is that you are most excited about, because we have so much to be excited about. And then just know that you have all of these solutions that you can talk to people about behind the scenes. Um, okay. This is such a random note. I don't know who this was from or what the speech was, but I wrote down, I think it was from Carl, actually. I think Carl came on a Saturday afternoon and he was kind of talking about the vision for our company and just taking charge of our wellness and being advocates out there right now in the world, offering solutions to people who want to be healthier and stronger and more fit. And he said that he had a vision for our homes, instead of the living room being where you plopped on the couch and eat popcorn and ice cream, that he had a vision for the home to be like the health center and the health hub of your well-being, right? Like, you have this hub that we've created within Beachbody in our own homes, where we have our weights and our yoga mats and our Beachbody on demand, and we're going to have bikes now, and we're going to have body workouts, and like, we have so many tools at our fingertips and our communities to connect into, where we can literally help people change the level of well-being that's within their home. And I just thought that's such a cool way to look at it. It's not just like we're helping people learn to work out and like eat better. We're literally like changing the culture of people's households by giving them all of these tools to make well-being like the center of attention in their home. Not to say they're never going to watch TV, but you get what I'm saying. It's like it brings a totally different dynamic to walk into a household where well-being is a priority, right? And I just thought that was a really a cool way to look at it when we're out there sharing. It's not just like, oh, I'm signing up somebody with a challenge pack. It's literally like, I'm helping someone create this new culture and this new lifestyle in their home of well-being and of wellness and of health and of energy and of confidence and of leading by example for their families. And I just thought that was really powerful. But that was kind of what he shared when he um, was talking about his vision for bringing all of these new avenues into Beachbody. I think I'm going to stop there because it's 9:30. I probably have some more notes that I could go over, but hopefully those things were helpful. I think the two main things that I really was excited to share with you, because they're things that you can implement, were the 7-day like sample social media calendar posting idea. And again, if there's something in that 7 days that you're like, man, I don't really like this day, you could switch it up and make it whatever you want. But the whole concept that I thought made it so simple was that she literally has every single day of the week has a different type of topic that she's sharing, and then she repeats it over and over and over. Every single week is the same thing. It's not the same post. It's not the same content, but it makes it so simple to know that you're sharing about transformation and the total solution, that you're sharing about coaching at least once a week, that you're sharing about yourself and the behind the scenes of your life once a week, that you're sharing something you're passionate about, or a hobby or a pet or your kid or your date night or whatever. And to me, it gives a really simple way to do like well-rounded social media, where you're talking about absolutely everything that you should be to connect with people, to engage, to invite, to inspire. So like I said, I put that on a Canva. It's nothing fancy. I literally just typed out her suggestions for that for you. I'm going to share it in the team page, and that way you can just print it out. And like I said, I took my blank calendar and I wrote like, what's the post or the reel going to be for that day? Because I don't plan a ton of stuff ahead, but if I have the content idea, then it makes it so much easier that day to think about what I'm going to share. So, and then the other thing was really just about the idea of the videos, recording the videos to talk about the total solution or body or any of that stuff that you feel. Could even just be saying like why this changed your life, why you believe in this so much, and why you're excited to share it with other women, right? That was it. I hope that was helpful. But I cannot tell you how amazing it was to be back at a Beachbody event after 2 years. I literally wanted to like cry multiple times, because it's so crazy when you've been going to Beachbody events multiple times a year for like 7 years, and then you just don't go to any Beachbody events. And it, like, especially, we just had a retreat and then I just had leadership, and I'm like, events are literally so life changing. Like, they bring energy to your life. They just like fire you up, right? You feel inspired, you feel joyful, you feel excited when you come home, and you just know that like our coaching community is truly one of a kind with the most incredible people in it. And it's just amazing to be poured into too. I really miss that. I really miss sitting in seminars and learning from leaders and like having new ideas, fresh things to come home with. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Please make sure that you come to Summit because Summit will be amazing. Um, we always have phenomenal speakers at Summit. I think the personal development, component of getting to events is really life changing. The things you hear, it might just be one thing that like completely changes things for you. Like that quote that I shared from Jamie Fitzpatrick, where he's like, you have an opportunity to change who people become in their lives. And I'm like, that's badass. Like, that's one little thing might hit you so hard, right? But also just getting to those events, putting skin in the game, like treating this like a business and getting there. And also, it shows the people that you are following that this is a real thing for you. That's a serious business, that it's something like you are investing in getting to, you are putting time into, you believe in it enough to go to things. And there's always a lot of interest that comes after events, because all of those people that are kind of silently watching you post your transformations and your workouts and your nutrition about your challenge group and all this stuff, that are kind of like, I'm not really sure about that. And then they see you go to things and they see it's real, and they see the friendships you have and the joy that you feel and the excitement. And people want to be a part of that, right? So that's just my little shameless plug of get your Summit tickets and get your butt there. All right. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'm throwing this out there, and I can't give you definitive times or the days of the week yet because we're still planning. But Kathy Reuter and I think some of you guys met Kathy because she came to our retreat. One of the things Kathy and I want to bring back, we've been talking about for a while, is live working hours, action hours. So she's going to be hosting them one night a week, and I'm going to be hosting them sometime during the daytime. That way we have different options for people to hop on. But it was easier, and we felt like it'd be more fun to do it with both teams, because then you get to meet other coaches and work with other people. But she and I are going to team up to do that. So I will keep you posted about that too. But I hope you had something helpful come of tonight, and we'll see you guys. What is next week? Is next week mentoring call week? Maybe, probably. Okay. Lovely to see you all. Bye, ladies.